Okay, I'll get going here this morning. May 20th, 2020, we sent public notice for a virtual meeting of the Metropolitan Board of Fair Commissioners. So we'll discuss the need for that here shortly. But I wanted to see if we could take attendance for the commissioners. We have our Vice Chair, Commissioner McAnally.
Present.
Commissioner Hemmer.
Here.
Commissioner Bergeron.
Here.
And we're fortunate to have a new member of the board, Sherry Weiner, who has served Nashville in many ways, including as a member of the Metro Council. Commissioner Weiner.
I am here. Thank you.
Okay. And we have our Executive Director, Legal Counsel present as well. Before we get going, I'd like to announce also that we have opportunity for public comment time on this virtual meeting. And the way interested parties can participate, they can call in live now. We have a number set up, 629-255-1939. That number again is 629-255-1939. So if you have public comment and you'd like to call that number, callers can call in. If you would state your name and your address, please. We have our staff member, Allison, ready to stack up some calls if we have interested folks for public comment time. At this point, I would like to engage with our legal counsel about this electronic meeting, and we might need to make a motion to proceed.
Good morning, everybody. Alex Dickerson here from Metro Legal. As you all know, and as we discussed before, meeting electronically is not something that is normally permitted under the Tennessee Open Meetings Act. However, Governor Lee issued Executive Order number 16 a few months ago, which was subsequently extended through June 30th. What that does is it allows certain boards and commissions to meet electronically, provided that they are only working on essential business and that they follow certain standards and requirements in order to meet the definition. So one of the things that the board must do is they must find that the meeting agenda constitutes essential business and that meeting electronically is appropriate to guard the health and safety of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. So I'd ask for the board to consider that now.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to proceed with this meeting that's been called.
Make a motion to proceed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, can we take a roll call from the commissioners? All in favor? Aye.
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 Aaron.
Caleb.
Ned, this is Alex Dickerson. You need to go down each name, if you would, please, to get the...
Okay, I got you. Don't mind, I'll go with first names. Caleb?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
And Aaron?
Aye.
And Ned is also aye. So we have unanimous. The motion passes to call the meeting to order. So I will do so now. We're calling the meeting to order. And as typical, we start the meeting with a legal notice.
Ned, I have
Yes.
one more vote that we need to have before we start the meeting. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the second vote that I'm asking is the way that your rules and procedures are written, they're written assuming that you're meeting in person, because that's the only way that you're normally allowed to do so. So the other vote that I'd ask the board to consider would be to temporarily suspend any of your rules or policies that are in contradiction with the governor's executive order until the executive order is lifted.
Okay. I'll make that motion to suspend our typical Fair Board rules to the extent that they contradict the governor's executive order permitting electronic meetings. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If there's not, Jason?
Aye.
And Caleb?
Aye.
And Sherry?
Aye.
And Aaron?
Aye.
Okay, that Ned is aye. We have a unanimous vote on that. That motion passes, so we can proceed per advice of counsel. Okay. Calling the meeting to order, and I will read our legal notice. As information for our audience, if you're not satisfied with the decision made by the Metropolitan Board of Fair Commissioners today, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the board's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact your own independent legal counsel. All right. Meeting will start with our agenda. I think we'll start with our minutes that have been circulated. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. And if we have a motion to approve those minutes, I'll make that motion. We have a second.
Second by Caleb.
Caleb seconds. Is there any discussion or questions about the minutes that have been circulated from our last meeting, which was in March? If not, I will call roll, vote on the minutes. Jason?
Aye.
Caleb?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
And Aaron?
Aye.
And Ned is aye as well. That is also unanimous. The minutes have been approved and will be taken into the record. I'll have to coordinate with Christy on getting those signed. All right, so we did allow for a virtual public comment time through the phone number I gave out earlier, 629-255-1939. And I guess we have to go to our tech experts, Allison, Christy, Kevin, whoever's in charge, if there are any phone calls to be acknowledged for public comment time.
Chairman Horton, we do not have any calls at this time.
Okay. If we do end up with calls, maybe you could flag me. We can discuss it at that point.
Sure.
So being no calls, we'll proceed with our printed agenda. And as typical, we start with monthly reports. First is financial report. And I will call on our executive director. Do we have a financial report for this meeting?
Thank you, Chair. We do, and I would like to turn it over to Satrice Allen for her first financial update to the board.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Patrice. The financial preliminary actuals through April 30th, 2020 is as follows. Revenue is $1,744,266, which represents 63.5% of our budgeted revenue. Less expenditures, $2,474,181, less depreciation expense, $299,292, which gives us a net loss of $1,029,207. I would like to bring you guys' attention to the itemized expenses that's below. Payroll expense continues to be our largest expense, which represents 47% of our budget. Year to date, we've spent $1,156,827. Utility expense represents 20% of our budget. Year to date, we've spent $495,593. I would like to jump to security services, which we've spent year to date $106,593, which is slightly over budget by 5.43%. And insurance, permits, and low cap, year to date, we've spent $307,358, which represents 20% of our budget. I would like to mention that due to the COVID-19, the Fairgrounds ceased to operate in its normal business capacity since mid-March 2020, which has contributed to our revenue shortfall. However, we will be receiving a $1.3 million subsidy, which has been approved by council. We've also been afforded the opportunity to assist during this pandemic, and we opened our facilities as an emergency shelter to house the homeless population, and we continue to serve in those efforts to date. So with that said, if there are any questions.
Any questions from the board? Or comments?
I have a question. This is Jason. With the going along with the loss of revenue from not being able to stage events, are we able to isolate what expenses we are not incurring as also likewise as a result of not undergoing ongoing operations? I'm just trying to understand the overall picture of the resultant spread there.
Currently, we're not, our security services, we're not spending there because we're not having events. So that's one line item that has halted along with our temporary services. And some of our purchase services and supplies, but our utilities and our payroll expenses, they are ongoing.
We still do have security. We just don't have the contract labor that might ebb and flow based on the number of events and size of events that we have.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have a question and a comment. First, I would like to commend our staff and our executive director for stepping up in this time. You're all doing an incredible job, and thank you so much for everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, none of us were expecting this, and I've had the opportunity to volunteer in the shelter, and I just have seen firsthand how hard the staff is working. So I'm very thankful to them. And then, Satrice, if you could clarify, if we aren't having security costs now, why we have an overage at this point?
The overage was due to previous events. So we were already going over before the event, before the COVID-19 event occurred. Does that make sense? So due to the events with our staffing of security, we were already budgeted to go over, which we will address coming next fiscal year to make sure that we staff appropriately and budget appropriately in that line item.
Okay, great. So it wasn't due to anything unusual. It was just, were there more events than we were planning, or?
It looks like it was the events and how we were staffing the event.
Okay, thanks.
Ned, if I can kind of contribute to that as well. If everybody can hear me.
Sure.
When we transitioned into the new facility, granted, we wanted to make sure that our operations were as seamless as possible as we transitioned. So we made sure that we had enough staff on hand to make sure that people were coming in and accessing the property since it was so new. So we made sure that we had appropriate security and external staff helping with that in that transition time. So as Patrice said, we'll adjust that going into this year. We knew that we were going to have savings in other line items, so we weren't incredibly concerned that we went over in security because we make it up in other areas to make that bottom line match. But now that we've been in the new facilities since August, you know, we'll have a better handle on how to, and our events are much more familiar with the site, and we'll be able to staff that a little bit more appropriately.
Okay, thank you for that. And I think we would all echo Commissioner McAnally's comments about the great job our staff is doing under your guidance and our mayor's guidance to take care of the homeless population in our facility while this pandemic is still raging around us. So thank you for all your efforts. Are we ready to move towards the executive director's report? What was that, Caleb?
I had a question before we move on.
Okay, sure.
Satrice, thank you for that report. One thing I want to clarify, make sure I understand it. So the subsidy that we are getting or been approved by Metro Council, that will, what will that help, or what will that look like in terms of our projections to the year end? Will we held whole or have a small balance year end due to that?
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat it?
I was just clarifying that the 1.3 million subsidy from Metro Council will, I'm assuming that will keep us whole or will allow us to have a small balance left over in our account estimated through fiscal year end. Is that correct?
Yes.
Maybe might be more of a comment for Laura to address in her executive director report, but going off the assumption that we'll be still having a rough year coming up next fiscal year, we don't get any more subsidies and whatnot. What is our contingency planning and expenses reduction plan look like with the fairgrounds? So, thank you.
Shall we?
Yes, I can do that now, or we can transition over to my report too, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, unless any commissioners have further questions for Patrice, we can move on. Thank you, Laura. You're on.
All right, thank you. I also want to welcome our newest board member, Dr. Sherry Weiner. Welcome. We're very lucky to have you serving in this capacity, and just wanted to welcome you myself, and I really look forward to working with you. I also thank you to all of you for your kind words and support to this time. It was certainly a difficult transition going, to a new model of running the fairgrounds, but I want to thank staff. They have worked really hard, both at the campus and certainly working from home, and, you know, keeping things moving ahead and coming up with some unique ideas on how to keep our community engaged, our Fairgrounds community engaged. So we will continue to do some neat things coming up as we are able to with the reopening plan. The shelter, I do want to thank social services staff. Yes, we are hosting the shelter, but really it is Director Renee Pratt and her staff who have done the day-to-day, and they've done an amazing job. Our guests are comfortable and safe, and I've heard just really good feedback from them on the shelter, and I guess that's what's most important, is that our guests are feeling welcome, and, you know, we will continue to serve in that capacity as long as it's needed for the community. I do want to mention one item. Certainly I've provided you a written briefing on this meeting, but I did attend a meeting, a virtual meeting of the Tennessee State Fair Commission on the 13th of May. This meeting was called just to talk about the expression of interest that the State Commission issued for the future of the Tennessee State Fair. That expression of interest was originally due, I believe, in April, and they have extended the deadline to June 1st. I am definitely preparing a submission from the Fairgrounds on behalf of Nashville and Davidson County to host the state fair. That process will also entail a formal RFP process once the expressions of interest are reviewed by a committee of the commission. And they are also looking at, there was quite a bit of discussion at the meeting on what the plans are for the 2020 State Fair. And everybody kind of has the same question.
Is anybody else having trouble hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, how's this? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. One of the conversations that
Is anybody else having trouble hearing Laura? It's just me.
It just got better.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so hopefully it's...
Kevin or Alex, anybody else having trouble hearing Laura?
We can hear everybody from here.
All right. I'm going to proceed unless somebody tells me to stop and, I guess, call in again. Again, we had a very important discussion about what's going to happen with the 2020 State Fair, especially in relation to this pandemic and, you know, reopening and the ability to host large events and mass gatherings. The State Commission is going to meet again on June 1st, and it was determined that a decision on whether or not to move forward needs to be made in early June. Needless to say, there's a lot of work that needs to go into planning, and there's also a financial outlay that has to happen around this time of year to produce the fair. And you know, if it is determined that you can't wait to obviously till the last minute to cancel, so we're definitely interested in staying in touch with TSFA and the State Commission to determine if that it really is in the best interest of all to have a state fair. Certainly all the county fairs are looking at this as well. And as we see that there's a lot of mass gatherings up through September that are starting to cancel. And so we're watching those and hopefully we can all move forward in agreement with the current reopening plan and the status of COVID at that time to make an appropriate decision on whether or not to host it. So we will continue to work with TSFA. In the meantime, we should be working toward a contract nonetheless, just in the event that we do have it. So we'll be certainly engaging in those conversations in the coming weeks.
Ned, we can hear you okay from here. This is Christy. Can you hear us?
We lost Chairman Horton.
Ned, if you can hear us, if you can go out and come back into the meeting, please. I'll call you, okay?
Looks like what he did. He just
Vice Chair McAnally, this is your moment.
Let's give him a second. Laura, thank you for that report.
Sure thing.
I will take this opportunity to, I haven't gotten to meet Satrice yet, so I would like to welcome her and also to welcome Commissioner Weiner. I'm so excited to work with both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I can find my mouse, I'll be able to hit this mic button. I'm looking forward to this.
Christy, do we have an update from Ned?
Yes, guys, we were working with him and trying to get him back on. If you can just wait just a few minutes. Ned, can you hear us? Ned, if you can hear me, call me back if you need the access code. Ned, can you hear us?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to let me in the meeting. Yeah, I don't have one. What is it? But I'm on the. He's got to.
Here, Ned.
I did.
We hear you, Ned.
Can you hear us,
No.
Ned?
No. I can hear you, Christy.
Okay. Are you using your phone for audio? Okay, Ned, we're going to call you. Just hang tight, okay? Sorry, guys, we're trying to get him connected back. If you'll just hang tight just for a few more minutes. Thank you. Okay, Ned, can you do a mic check, please?
Check.
Great, we can hear you. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
I don't hear.
What were you going to say?
I just want to hear the meeting. I don't hear the meeting. So.
You can hear, yes. You can hear us, right?
Yeah.
So now I have Laura.
Laura, can you say something, please? Make sure Ned can hear everyone.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear
Okay,
that, Ned?
thanks.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
All right, perfect. So I was pretty much done with my executive director report. To wrap it up, obviously, you know, there's a lot that goes into, of course, reopening. I know a lot of people are very interested on when we're going to be able to resume events. I think everybody also understands that large mass gatherings are going to be the last to come back online. But we are working with the COVID task force and the health department in navigating maybe some outdoor events and how we could do those successfully with current social distancing guidelines in place. So our event staff is heading that up, and certainly, as you'll hear probably in a little bit when we start talking about the Speedway contract, Randy and Bob are doing a great job at putting those plans together as well, just to be prepared in the event that we are able to do some limited events. Again, very conscientious of social distancing guidelines, and certainly with in consultation with the task force and health department. So that's kind of where we are now. Again, I want to thank staff. Everybody has done such a good job, and there are so many Metro departments, nonprofits, and business partners that have come together to serve the community in this time, and especially at the Fairgrounds and what we're doing. So just want to thank everybody again for all their hard work on a day-to-day basis. So thank you again, and I am done unless there's any other questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Well, thank you very much. We can move on to old business then, if we're prepared to move on to the Fairgrounds Improvement Project update.
Yeah, good morning, board, council, and staff. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay.
Good morning. Sounds good.
Well, to begin, you all should have available to you current dashboards of the Fairgrounds as well as Fair Park budgets. Those should have been shared with you. I want to start by letting you all know, of course, as I do at most of these meetings, the figures that I'll be covering today, they're about 45 days, probably a little bit more actually this month as we're meeting a little bit later in the month. So about 45 to 50 days behind actual progress, as these dashboards are reflecting capital expenditures related to invoices and that have been paid and or purchases that have been actual payments made against those. But I will be starting with the blue sheet, Fairgrounds improvements. Just to start there, I'd like to highlight that we're just under $4 million remaining out of the overall $41 million that was allocated. So that's putting us past the 90% milestone, with just over 37 million spent. And that blue sheet in the different categories will show you how those dollars have been spent to date. But I do want to highlight, I guess I'll cover a couple of updates to the uses section. Please stop me if you have any questions. And of course, I'm happy to answer questions near the end. But I want to call your attention to, I guess, the major update, so to speak, under uses, which is a breakout of the multipurpose building. All of the figures that are under the multi-purpose building section are new as of this month and what you're seeing. Previously, the multi-purpose building, those funds were captured primarily in the new exposition center and site improvement section. In discussion with our team as well as with Laura and staff, it seems to be more appropriate to break those out. I know over the past couple months, the question had been, where were those funds located and how much was allocated there. This dashboard now represents that much more clearly. As you can see, there's of course there's no spend associated with that yet, but it will give the board a good idea of the amount of funds that have been allocated to moving forward there. So this is very similar to what the demolition of the existing structures called out looked like a few months ago before we really started that work. I will jump back to the top of the usage section just to give the update in a more traditional sense. As you can see with construction, now with this breakout, there's about $470,000 that's still allocated to Expo. That brings the percent complete there to about 98.5%. As you all may be aware of, from our last presentation to the board, there were a few items that we were considering doing that needed to be addressed as of, the transition of the facility related to the coronavirus. We have not really had any of our construction or design teams accessing the facility and doing any work. They have been doing some visits and, of course, things outside and external to the building. But just know that there are a few items that we're still looking to close out there. Nothing extremely significant. And, of course, as you all know, nothing that's impairing the use of the facility. But those remaining funds there are to cover those costs and a little bit of retainage. And then, honestly, there should be some savings in that line item. So we're happy to report that as we get to the end of that project, there'll be funds there that can be redistributed for use at the fairgrounds. The design and engineering line item has been adjusted to cover, to get us through to completion. One of the exercises the team's been working with over the past couple weeks is really getting our design and engineering team to give us a better picture of what it would look like now that we have some more information on schedules related to all of the projects out at the Fairgrounds campus. The multi-purpose building now coming into picture a lot more over the past couple weeks, as well as progressing through the demolition in Fair Park. So the funds that you see there, that $22,000 is just to get us across the finish line as we push towards closing out the Expo building project. The FF&E line item there, those dollars are still allocated within the budget here. Laura's been meticulous in tracking things for us there, and we've got some ideas of where those funds can be spent. But again, as of now, things have not moved significantly over the past several weeks, so that line item has not moved very much. And then the project management line item and other related line items there, very little funds remaining. As you can see from that section, everything's pretty much lining up to be about 99 to 98% complete, which is very much so in line with what you would actually see if you were out there today and representative of the project. I highlighted briefly the multi-purpose building breakout. To touch on that a little bit more, you can see in front of you the allocations there of just over $1.5 million for that work. What has been decided with the project management team, as well as the Fairgrounds, with Laura's input heavily in this, we've reached out to procurement to start the process of issuing a solicitation for their work that would be independent of the contract that Skanska has currently on the site. So Skanska has been the contractor that has done all of the work on the site to date under these funds that you've been seeing expended, with the exclusion of demolition that's being done by Renaissance, and that's taking place now and tracking well and on schedule. So the plan for the multi-purpose building is to work and have that be an independent solicitation for a contractor to come in and do the work. It's a relatively simple and small building. So it was collectively agreed that that's a great opportunity to pursue small and minority businesses, diversity business initiatives for this project. It's a great opportunity there to have that happen, as well as now that it's kind of operating on its own timeline, so to speak. it allows us to be able to close out Skanska's work on the project and have that run independently. The demolition of existing structures, as I highlighted, is on schedule. Right now, what you're looking at in front of you under construction, that allocation there, you see the pay to date of just over $266,000. That's the first payment that was made to our demolition contractor. It represents their work through the month of March. So again, as we talk about these numbers being delayed as presented to you, they are about 4 to 6 weeks out from completion right now and fully finishing up everything that's out there. So again, tracking on schedule, going well there. Our design and engineering numbers there, again, trailing behind. We think that that's actually going to produce a bit of savings. But we've had a great job coordinating not only with our demolition contractor and the Fairgrounds staff, but also with the stadium team, as this is, of course, a precursor to any work that they would be doing out there. Project management and miscellaneous items. We've had only a small amount of fees that have come in to date. That was related to moving some utilities prior to the demolition starting. So that's the only thing that's tracked there with that $2,400. And you see a project contingency that was there carried basically the balance of the original 1.8 that we had set aside and allocated for the demolition very early on in the project. So that total budget is holding. We don't see any need for adjustments there. We feel like that will conclude in a very timely fashion. Very happy with the process, and again, an area where we think budget-wise we'll be tracking very well. The last two sections here under the uses are the grandstands. It's rolled up at this point because there's not been a lot of activity, but there has been work actually, again, with these numbers being projected in arrears, about $85,000 to $100,000 of work at the grandstands that you'll see that this pay to date will start to move a little bit. So I'll blow that one up next time so that you can see the movement. But off to in the cost to complete column, you see that $100,000 that's tracked there. We're making sure that we're covering that so you guys have an accurate picture of the spend to come. So these still are making sure we're accounting for all the best and current knowledge that we have. And then finally, repairs, demolition, and site master planning. Been no movement over the past few months there. That was essentially all the work that took place prior to us even starting work on the expo building. So it's just somewhat of a catch-all for that work. But there's been no movement there in the past several months. So that figure has been consistent with the last time it was presented to the board. Again, that brings the cost to complete in that area to just under $4 million, 3.979979. Did not do that on purpose. That's just how we're tracking. And it brings us to our 90% complete milestone. If there are questions related to that sheet, I'm happy to address those now. If not, I will move to Fair Park.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions?
Don't hear any, Ned. Is it okay if I keep moving, Chair?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. So Fair Park, winding down. We'll actually be wrapping up the work out there again next couple weeks, majority of which will be completed before the end of May. So we're pushing towards our final invoicing and our final expenses there. As you can see, there's been no adjustments made to the format of this document as there was for the Fairgrounds improvements. But we have just over $350,000 remaining in the funds allocated. Of that, $250,000 is allocated to construction. We'll be expending a majority of that here in the next two invoices that will hit. But largely, we feel like there will be some funds that can be allocated not to the direct construction under Skanska. We know that area has a lot of use, a lot of appeal, a lot of visibility. And so we'll be making sure that Laura gets a good rundown of the funds that are remaining as we close that out here in the next couple of weeks. We do have what we anticipate to cover for the final invoicing for our design services there. So we expect that we don't have any budgetary issues. Same for project management. and any other fees that may come should all fit pretty nicely within that budget. So again, we feel like we're in good shape. That project's total completion right now is just about 96%. And as I stated, the next time I'll be reporting to you, we may very well be saying we're finished out there. And the accounting, of course, will still be in arrears, but just wanted to give everyone an update on both how we're tracking with the budget. We feel very good, as well as the schedule should be wrapping up here soon. And I'll open that or the entire presentation open to questions if there are any.
Okay, anything from the board? Thank you, Ed, for the update.
No, thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
To the MLS Stadium update, please.
Thank you, Chairman Horton. This is Mary Cavara, and I'm here today on behalf of Nashville SC and our ownership group. I will share a brief update on the team and the MLS Stadium project. It's remarkable to think that we joined MLS on January 1st of this year, held our inaugural match on February 29th at Nissan Stadium with almost 60,000 fans in attendance. On March 3rd, the tornado hit parts of Nashville. We played our second match at Portland on March 8th, and then on March 11th, the World Health Organization declared a pandemic, all within less than 75 days. As with all professional sports, our season is suspended, and the league is working on various alternatives with the goal to play a full season. Our players remain in town and recently started limited workouts at our training facility. The team is also working on creative content to engage with our fans, such as video matches, referred to as eMLS, virtual interviews with our players, local sports figures, and others, and of course, virtual happy hours. We're also working in the community to help those affected by the tornado and virus, as are the other professional sports team. We have recently partnered with Pencil to recognize Metro school teachers, and there's more to come on this initiative. We are excited to soon be part of the Fairgrounds Nashville campus and look forward to honoring its rich traditions, including the flea market, automobile racing, and the state fair. As folks have mentioned earlier, demolition at the Fairgrounds Nashville site must be completed prior to commencement of the construction of the MLS Stadium. Ed had mentioned the demolition is on track and we believe is expected to be wrapped up by late June. The 100% construction documents, and these are the final documents of the architecture project, were completed in early April, and the initial earthwork bid packages were released in late April. Construction is expected to start in early July, with substantial completion of the stadium targeted for mid-May 2022. My caveat is that, similar to any construction project, schedules may change as the work progresses. As you may recall, the Sports Authority Board also previously approved certain documents related to the construction of the stadium, including the lease agreement, the development agreement, and the construction administration agreement. We are working with the Metro legal team to update these documents per the terms of our agreed upon term sheet that was executed in February of this year. One of the important provisions of the development agreement is the creation of a development committee that monitors the stadium project construction. As a reminder, this is a 5-person committee chaired by the team, which will actually be me, as well as another team representative. We have 2 Sports Authority representatives, which were recently appointed by their board, and 1 representative to be appointed by the Fair Board. We have been communicating informally under this format and working with CAA Icon, GHP, CPS, Monica Faulknetson, and Laura, and believe it is important to have this committee formally in place once the documents are complete. We will continue to provide updates as the project moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Any questions from the board? Any comments? Well, it has been a heck of a ride. We are pleased to hear that the team is at least back to some training and hopeful for a season. That sounds good. Anybody else? All right, if not, we can move on to new business. Development committee appointment.
All right, that is me. So in your packet, you'll see a summary of the item that Mary just referenced, and that is the development agreement between the Sports Authority and the Stadium Co. Does provide for that development committee. As she stated, there are 2 representatives from Stadium Co., 2 from the Sports Authority. Sports Authority went ahead and appointed their members at their last meeting. And then, if you recall, back in 2018, when we deliberated on these agreements, it was determined that the Fair Board should also have a representative on this committee as a third-party beneficiary regarding the collaborative process for the stadium construction. So, as stated in their chair and myself recommend that I be appointed as the Fair Board's original representative to that committee. And then the agreement also allows for the Fair Board to send an alternative representative if I am unavailable to attend. So with that, I ask that the board consider appointing me to the development committee.
Okay. These notes have been circulated. Anyone on the board want to make a motion to that?
I'll make a motion. I'll move that the board appoint our executive director, Laura Womack, as the Fair Board's original representative on the development committee pursuant established under the development agreement between the Sports Authority and Stadium Co.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Ned, Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb.
Laura, I was curious, at these meetings, are board members able to attend if need, or how do you keep that deciding both?
I'm having trouble hearing Commissioner Hemmer.
Yeah, the question was, are board members able to attend these meetings? Certainly we would be limited under our open meetings for more than one board member to attend. I think that is, the agreement doesn't necessarily outline additional members that will attend. It's certainly something maybe Alex can shed some light on. I am very happy to update the board at our meetings on how any of those discussions go. Are you suggesting just information or an additional member?
No, I wasn't suggesting an additional member.
Okay.
I just didn't know if there was, I think it's additional color, but not knowing what's the, kind of agenda and things like that. If it's something of interest that one of the board members can attend. If it's not a business meeting or a public meeting, the general overview of it, but that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? If not, I can call roll. Jason?
Aye.
And
think you said, ma'am, having trouble hearing over here. Aye.
Okay, thank you. And Aaron?
Aye.
And Ned is aye as well, so that motion passes. Laura's been appointed as Development Committee representative for our entity. Thank you. Let's see. Next up is contract with Track Enterprises for the 2020 racing season.
Thank you. I just will note that we have Bob Sargent from Track Enterprises and Randy Dice from D&D Events on the call on this meeting as well to address any questions from their perspective. In your packet is a draft of the 2020 racing agreement. I do want to thank both of them and Commissioner Bergeron and Alex for their work in initially drafting, discussing, and then redrafting when we had to adjust to a new normal under COVID. So I will just give you a brief summary of the terms of this agreement. This is a one-year term. Now, the schedule of the races, originally we had races scheduled from April through October, both local races and sanctioned races. Needless to say, that has been adjusted, and you will see that we retain the original date schedule in the contract itself under activities to be performed. Although we are anticipating that, you know, through early June, potentially mid-June, that those dates may need to be rescheduled. Obviously, April and May dates have come and gone, and so we'll have to look at rescheduling those if the schedule allows. So we did make a provision in this agreement that said that the dates will be determined and agreed to by both parties for 2020 once the guidelines for resuming mass gatherings have been established and we are able to host those events. So just wanted to draw your attention to that. I do have a draft schedule that was sent over that we'll be looking at, and I will send that out when we have a little bit better idea of what we are, when we will be able to start. I do anticipate being able to start some outdoor activities prior to indoor, but again, we will work very closely, and Scott Wallace has been working with the COVID task force and again, the health department to navigate that, as well as Randy and Bob. There's certainly models out there nationally for speedways, and we'll be looking at that as well. Another section is Section F, which is noise restrictions and curfews, and we went, there's a lot of discussion, of course, in regards to this, and I want to, again, thank everyone for their thoughtfulness as we put some terms down in regards to this. Track Enterprises is going to work with establishing muffler requirements for the vehicles. Under the circumstances, Bob had asked for a little bit of leeway just to make sure that the specs on the mufflers and the mufflers that are chosen and installed in these vehicles actually perform as he wants them to. And so there is a term in the agreement that says no later than August 1st, they will look to identify specific part numbers for acceptable required mufflers, and then, of course, the procedure for how to authenticate compliance with the muffler use. So I'll draw attention to that. In regards to curfews, track rentals are going to be scheduled from 3 to 7. That is across the board. There is a term in there that allows for a weather delay or an emergency to extend to 7:30 if necessary. On Fridays of race weekends, track activity is beginning no earlier than 3 if school is in session and ends no later than 9. On Saturdays of race weekends, races will begin no earlier than 12 p.m. However, we did put in there that in the event of an earlier start, they will bring that to the board, or the board can grant a designee to make a decision of whether or not an earlier start is needed. Certainly that would be an exception, maybe weather or other event related issue, but we can navigate that together. The end date or end time for Saturday racing has been established as 11 p.m. under this agreement. However, I will make mention that the target end time is 10 p.m. I'll let certainly Bob and Randy talk about this a little bit, but our intent here is that want to make sure that there is some cushion in the event, again, of a weather delay or an emergency during a race. However, they have committed to, targeting a 9:45 wind down and a 10 p.m. stop. And so we will navigate that and evaluate their efforts at targeting that 10 p.m. end time at the end of the season. 11 p.m. will be a hard stop, though. There will be no extensions granted beyond 11 p.m. Sundays, we did make a exception for All-American. That is, needless to say, one of our biggest weekends, so we wanted to make sure that we give them flexibility for that, and that was allowed to begin by 10 a.m. and will end no later than 5 unless prior approval is granted. And again, Sundays, in the event that they are racing on a Sunday, Sundays are designated as rain days, 12 to 7, unless, again, prior approval is granted by the fair board or designee. We left in there the term that they will participate in monthly NIAC, the Neighborhood Impact Advisory Committee. We still need to get a committee formed from neighborhood representatives, and we will continue to work with Councilman Sledge on that. As far as the payment terms and compensation, that is in Section 4 of your agreement, page 5. Rent, there's a little bit different structure here for revenue. There is a flat fee of $3,000 per local race, plus essentially a ticket revenue share, an additional $1 to the fair board for each ticket purchased in excess of 2,500 general admission tickets sold for each local race. For sanctioned races, those larger races, that flat rate does increase to $6,000. Again, we've made some adjustments to the schedule, and that May 2nd and 3rd race that was originally scheduled as a sanctioned race may be rescheduled. Office rent is included in this as well. And then also a $300 per 4-hour block for track rentals is included. And as typical in our Speedway agreements, 15% of sales for concessions. So that is kind of a highlight of the main terms. I will say, even though we haven't had any practices or races, I want to thank and commend Bob and Randy on the work that they've done on the grandstands and track to date. Aesthetically, they have done just a fantastic job at improving the space, along with our staff who has planned the safety lighting updates to the front straightaway and are currently working to rewire the caution lights. But I do want to just call out D&D, Track Enterprises, and our staff for all the work that's been done on the Speedway to date. I think our race fans are going to be very pleased when they come back and join us for a race. So I will leave that. And again, both Randy and Bob are on the call, so if you have any specific questions, and I'll also say that if Commissioner Bergeron has any comments to add since he was the board representative that assisted with this contract. I will turn the floor over to him.
Thank you.
Hey, this is, thanks, Commissioner Chairman, and thanks, Laura. And just in case, I'm peeking at that screen, so if my audio starts to cut out at all, use that little hand raise button thing, and I'll know to stop or something because you're having trouble hearing me. I'm on the lookout for that. But I did have a couple comments just to echo things Laura said. I did want to note for Laura and Alex, and it may impact our motion that we make approving this for that 12 p.m. start time on Saturday. It looks like we didn't get that phrase in at the end saying unless prior approval is granted, by a fair board or designee. That's under subsection D to be able to approve an earlier time if they come to us and ask. So I just want to make sure that makes it in there. And we may need to just give. When we make the motion, give the executive director the ability to make some small edits. But I did want to comment on a couple things in this, and now that this is sort of a second, third go around that I've had a chance to be involved in these discussions at racetrack contracts. And just a little bit of history, and I think also helps as we have a new commissioner. I want to talk a little bit about track rentals or what's called private testing. And this subject has come up a lot in recent years. And it has a long history here. Our previous promoter under their last couple contracts was running track rentals 40 or 50 nights a year. That's an enormous number. And that really, I think, drove a lot of concerns from the community, the residential community, and schools that surround this track. This ancillary activities that doesn't directly relate to racing. And we obviously had issues with those track rentals. When there were curfews in effect for them, those curfews weren't met a lot of times. We think a lot of times those track rentals were run without mufflers. And another big thing, as far as I can tell, is, but up until now, the promoters have never paid for these rentals. They were charging other bodies or racers to run, but they were never responsible to directly pay Metro for this use. And that's really important to consider, considering our previous promoter still owes us a lot of rent. But they weren't directly required. And a lot of these things have just kind of done this way, and they've just been done this way for so long that they needed to really be taken a look at. And so I'm really happy to see that we've gotten a few things into this new contract that really are going to form a foundation for the future, I think. First and foremost, there's a cap this year. There are 18 private track rental, private testing slots for the entire year. That's great, and that's finally starting to get to a place where this ancillary activity is starting to be limited in a way that's respectful to the community. Because when you think about it, you've got sort of a little bit lesser version of a race happening a number of nights a year. It adds up to adding a lot of races effectively. But Bob and Randy have been great to work on that and have agreed to that. We now have a permanent window with curfew, 3 to 7 p.m. at all times, which is great, a huge improvement. And Metro is being paid $300 per rental, which, as far as I can tell, is maybe the first time Metro has ever been paid per rental. I mean, I think if you analogize this to a Ascend Amphitheater, the notion that we would ever let some of our mini musicians in Nashville just go down to Ascend and jam for free, we would never let them do that. And so that's a big deal. I think that having this framework in place, this doesn't change the actual races occurring, because the races occur. There's Friday nights for testing and qualifying, and the races occur. I mean, the racing activities are intact, but this ancillary activity that sort of definitely burdens the community a lot is finally starting to get some parameters in place that I think think and hope the board, will use, going forward. So I really think that this really is going towards striking a great balance. As for the race curfews, I really appreciated the conversation from Randy and Bob about working hard to target that 10 p.m. and being closed down by. And Bob talked a lot about, wanting to have a good family atmosphere that, and if you bring kids to the track, you probably don't want to keep them up till 11. But it was very willing to, give them the leeway this year as Bob's first year and Randy and Bob working together first year to get that 11 hard curfew, but work towards 10, and then we can go forward next year and future years and try to tighten that up. But they had some good ideas, well planned out, and I'm really looking forward to that, and also I'm really looking forward to the provisions that we got in there about noise and mufflers, and Bob had some great ideas to try to work and really dig in and get details about putting in, muffler criteria and noise limits and trying to figure out what can be done, as we start this contract out. So those are some real highlights. I think this is a good agreement for this year. The one part I do want to leave open for discussion a little bit is something Laura tracked a little bit is, if we're able to get to actual races this year, depending on health conditions and whatnot, I do think it's important for the board to talk a little bit about our expectations for what would need to be done. I think a lot of governments and other states and places have made some bad decisions recently about mass gatherings, and I think we as a board should place some expectations out there saying that if things improve and we're able to have mass gatherings of races, what we are expecting, because I don't think any of us want to be contributing to an event. I know Bob and Randy don't either want to be contributing to an event that damages public health. And so I was hoping the board, whether before or after we approve this contract, have some discussion about expectations for standards and requirements that we absolutely would need to see for any races that are conducted this year. With that, I'll turn it over back to Ned.
Thank you, Jason. That's very thorough. Appreciate all your efforts there. Any comments from Laura at this point on that topic? Next steps? Advice from council here where we need to proceed?
Just a couple comments. Again, I want to thank everybody for all their work. I just want to clarify one thing. There was, to Commissioner Bergeron's point for track rentals, there was a provision in the last contract for use of the track and lighting. So for payment to the fair board for track lighting or for track rentals. Now, my understanding is that we did not get any payment for that. But if there was a daytime practice and they didn't need the lights, that would not be included. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. As far as the contract goes, granted, we have some work to do on the schedule. So my comment is, and notwithstanding the comment that Commissioner Bergeron made for the edit to the Saturday, any adjustments on the Saturday start time to add in unless prior approval is granted by the fair board or designee, that I would recommend that the board, and this is consistent with other motions for contracts, is that the motion could include that addition and then also give us the ability to work with legal counsel to make any non-substantive changes to the contract. If there's any, cleanup that needs to be done, we will go ahead and be able to do that with the board's approval of the base agreement that you see in front of you.
Okay.
I think Commissioner Weiner may have her hand raised.
Yeah, I can't see that, but Commissioner?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, thank you, Chair. I do. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and some of this may be my naivete with regard to how racing tracks are run. So I've got just a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Because my day job is audiology and I do noise, my question is, what are the intervals that are set up for monitoring those noise levels? When will that be done?
Is that a question for me? This is Bob Sargent.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so in our earlier discussions, we had asked, since the facility did not have any prior intervals, things like that. So we've done some research around the United States, and motorsports, other sporting events, even indoor concerts, things of that nature. There's a lot of different procedures in place, rules, and we asked the board to give us some time to figure out the best with all these practices that we'll bring in. It looks like around the 99 decibel at 10 feet off the track, something like that. So we'll do checks off of the racetrack and the grandstand. We'll do checks in the community, in the neighborhood also. And then we'll give the race team specific numbers, part numbers for mufflers to put on their car. But from the past experience at the racetrack there was nothing in set. All it said in the rules and the contract was they had to have mufflers, period. So we've asked for a little time to design that, and we will be very transparent with the board and yourself in the findings that we get to as soon as we get on track, and then we would like to set something in writing at that point.
Okay, good. I was going to ask about that. I think it's important to have a target so everybody's held to some level of accountability, and also stipulate at what duration or intervals that testing will take place. Excuse me, and where I did the testing for Nissan Stadium and for actually the Grateful Dead concert. So 99 dB sounds pretty good for a starting point, especially if it's right 10 feet off the track. So that was my first question.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, that's great. That's great. Thank you. So my next question has to do with the maintenance and the repair. And again, I don't know how racetracks operate around the country and would just love a little bit of education, either now or offline at some point. But I know most leases I've been involved with, the lessee is responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance. And I noticed in this that the Fair Board has exclusive responsibility for managing and maintaining the sound system, the scoreboard, caution lights, the scoring loop, and then there is sufficient routine maintenance in terms of that will be done jointly with the speedway, asphalt, guardrails, concrete walls, and all the things that are pertinent to the use of the track itself. And so I was just curious why it has been divided up this way, and TE is not responsible for maintaining the property that it's leasing. That may be a Laura question.
Yeah, I can go ahead and address that. So in our previous agreement, our long-term agreement with our previous promoter, they actually took on significant responsibility for day-to-day maintenance and capital improvements, but they also had a 60-month lease. So under this arrangement, knowing that this is a one-year agreement, and there's also discussion, as everyone knows, with potentially a private-public partnership with another entity to come in and do some significant improvements to the speedway. Right. Under that, it was really difficult to expect, them to come in and have a, significant outlay of routine maintenance and capital investments, knowing that this is a one-year deal. So it really is quite term related and it also is consistent with a breakdown of general maintenance to the track in much earlier agreements with the Speedway.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. My last question has to do with just the way the concessions are being calculated. Is the 15% on gross, or is the 15% on net after cost of goods are taken out?
It's gross after taxes. Randy, do you want to talk about that?
This is Randy Dice with D&D. Yeah, it's basically on adjusted gross. So only thing that will come out is sales tax, and then you're paid the 15% on the remaining, not after cost of goods.
Okay, so that's better for Metro than it is for y'all, just saying, because you're having to pay us 15% on the cost of goods. Okay, just curious. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I think just to echo what Laura was saying, the history of the last 10 years or so, we've had a lot of short-term contracts as we figured out the full vision for the future of the fairgrounds. So these were contracts that came from RFPs that were submitted. Some of them were very short-term, just kind of bridging from one step to another as we waited to see what the master plan for the facility was. So I think we're starting to have things come to shape. Yes, sir.
Then if I could speak just also to Jason's question earlier about preparing to reopen. We are already preparing to reopen the concourse with signage. We're adding a bunch of hand sanitizing stations. We've already put plexiglass on all the concession stands and all the bars. So we're in the process of doing everything that the CDC is requesting, the health departments, the local governments, trying to get ready, to be prepared for when that day comes that we can reopen.
And this is Bob Sargent. Another thing for the board when we have the talks, we actually, Track Enterprises, are actually holding events in different states now. So we have quite experience of face coverings, masks, guidelines, temperatures, things like that. As he said, the hand sanitizing, social distancing, a lot of guidelines throughout our racing industry, the golfing industry, outdoor recreation in many, many different states. So with that experience and what comes out of Tennessee and Nashville in general, we think we'll have a good plan in place for the board to look at.
Thanks for that. Hey, this is Jason. I just wanted to say thanks for that, Bob. And I did want to, since we're talking about that a little bit, maybe we can go ahead, and there's no reason we can't talk about it now, I don't think. Which is, I'm not a scientist. I'm a corporate lawyer. So I want to caveat that there's a lot of people out there saying they're saying a lot of science, but and they're not, including people way up at the top. But everything I'm reading seems to say that masks work, and masks are really important, and we can all really help each other by wearing masks. And so, at least for my part, and I would welcome board discussion, I would really strongly like to see that all attendees at any races this year are required to wear masks at the races to enter the facility and to stay in the facility. And that's obviously there's a million other factors that play into whether we get to have races this year, but I just feel like we have got to model responsible behaviors and require people to be responsible, because there's a lot of people not being responsible right now. And so if we get to a place where we can do this, which would be great, people should have to wear masks. People should have to show that baseline of responsibility and decency for their fellow citizens, that they should have to wear masks at all times when they attend. That's at least how I feel.
I have a follow-up question to that, Jason. Thank you for bringing that up. Having recently survived COVID-19, I would say safety is absolutely of top priority to myself, and I know to the board as well. but I do have a question for legal about that. Both with the contract and moving forward, can we create guidelines moving forward that might potentially preempt municipal or state law? Is one question I have, and how do we handle that? What if our guidelines are stricter? Would we be liable for that? And also, in the contract, I think it's in section 2.3, we have outlined days that may be affected by COVID-19. Are we liable if it continues after that point? Do we need to clarify that it may, through all the dates through the year, that it may be affected by COVID-19?
Well, we have a standard clause in all of our contracts, and in this proposed contract that basically states that they indemnify and hold us harmless for any claims that arise out of this. So I will say for that part, it's intended to be broadly, the language is broad so that it can cover things like if we get a claim that there's some type of, if someone were to come to the track and were to get COVID and sue Metro because they claim they got it at our public facility, I think would be covered under indemnification from TE for that. As far as whether or not we can require people to have masks at a public event, that's something we'd need to really drill down into and see if that's something we could do. This is the first that we've really talked about this. So if we want to consider putting a clause like that in there, I would advise holding off on approving this contract at this meeting, and let me look into that to make sure there aren't any problems.
Thank you.
This is Randy. I will say that as far as staff goes, we are implementing the mask temp checks and all that. So we're going to implement everything that we can for staff. You'll have to advise us about public.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to solve that today, obviously. But what steps do we need to take today to get this moving forward? Either Jason or Laura or Alex, what's the next step for this meeting?
I'll say it depends on what it is you want to add. If you're looking to, if all you were looking to do is add the clause that Commissioner Bergeron wants to add, and then give Laura some leeway to make non-substantive changes, that can be voted on now. If you're looking for it to add some other clauses, like the mask clause, I'm going to recommend that we not approve it right now, and that you allow me to research that. That's just my advice.
This is Jason, and I certainly don't want to necessarily derail approval of the contract. So I would ask a question for legal counsel. If we approve the contract today with that little kind of additional phrase, that's not really a big substantive change about being able to start earlier on Saturdays if they get approval. Looking at 2.3C of the contract about obviously just a general compliance warranty that PE will follow policies and guidelines. If we were to approve the contract today and then get further guidance from you, Alex, on our ability to do something as regards to masks and or other safety measures that relate to COVID that we think we can have be observed as to people attending, could the board pass a rule or policy or guideline that then would cover those, and then they would have to follow. And I'm also not worried about Bob and Rich following things because they seem like they're going to be really good partners. But could we do it that way in order to get the contract done, and then would that be a good enough provision to let us work on that stuff after the fact?
I think that's a good method to try. I would say I'd prefer to just do an amendment to the contract. That way, all the parties agree to the provisions. But if for some reason it's something that's would be controversial, I think there's a good argument that as long as it applies to everything in the fairgrounds, that it's a policy that they have the right to, that they have to either reject outright or they accept it by continuing to operate.
This is Randy. I will say too that we are putting up signage to highly recommend mask. Obviously, we cannot force unless it's a government mandate, but we are putting it up, the signage to highly recommend.
Okay. Are we prepared to have a motion on the process here for getting this contract in place?
I'll say from a legal standpoint, as long as you're comfortable with a subsequent amendment or Commissioner Bergeron's suggestion about the having a rule and kind of the risks of that, I'm comfortable with it from our end.
Okay, can I ask for a motion from the board?
So moved.
Well, I'll go ahead and sort of, I guess maybe make a motion just to allow for that. I'll make a motion to approve the contract between the Fair Board and Track Enterprises, accounting for the discussed technical edit to section 2.3 FD, that to add the phrase unless prior approval is granted by the Fair Board or designee, and also to account for any other non-substantive edits that the executive director is hereby empowered to make prior to execution.
Okay.
Can the original move-in, can you accept that as a friendly amendment?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. So do we have a second to Jason's motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the board. Is there any discussion, clarification, or questions? If not, I could take roll. And I'll call Jason.
Aye.
And then Caleb.
Aye.
Sherry.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
Ned is aye as well. We have unanimous approval, and the motion is passed. Okay, is there any further discussion or business for the board? Anybody have any further comments?
I have just one. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with all my questions, and I'm looking forward to spending the next year with you.
Yes, welcome aboard. As Laura said, we're very happy to have you, and Lucky as well. So look forward to getting to know you. Well, it has been tumultuous time in history since our last get together, and Commissioner McAnally has been through the coronavirus. Our last meeting, we were on pins and needles of what was going to happen with the pandemic that was coming our way. Just having gone through the tornado, as Mary pointed out. So we have a lot of positive things going on with the facility, and I think we should thank Mayor Cooper and Metro Council for helping us shift roles here that we're playing in our community, taking care of the homeless, and meanwhile continuing for bigger and better plans down the road as we're building a stadium for our new MLS team. I don't have any further business. If anybody wants to make a motion or any further comments, I assume we didn't have any public comments from the phone lines to address.
That's correct, Ned. There have been no calls.
Okay. Are we prepared to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting? I'll call Jason.
Aye.
Caleb?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Ned is aye as well. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kevin, Alex, for helping us through this. Sorry for the lack of signal that I had there for a while, but thanks, everyone, and stay safe and keep up the great work. Appreciate it.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.